Greetings, folks. So, this video is about my writing and just to sort of. So, INTP preferences. I call myself an accommodator rational. So, how does this sort of play through me and what does it say about my type and me? So, here's an example episode I'm working on. You can see what it starts with. So, A5, Ms. A, mini season A, Ms. A, episode 5. And I had there are individual folders for each scene in this folder, and there are scene headings in there. So, and it would be in fact, show this other file where you have did I not write it on there? Where you would have scene number, scene code, int or exterior location, time. Scene number can wend, i.e. change, because it might be moved around. But the scene code never changes. This is in case I move it around and I don't change the number in another file. So the code, if for example C09 will never change, but the scene number can change. So that's one thing. So, but before getting to this, and sometimes I'll use a script prep file if I want to go really, really deep and like analysis and MySip plans and all of that. But so you have one of these files. So this is a summary of this. And again, at this point, these are locked because I'm on this phase. And last night I realized something. So when I was on the SBS outline, the scene by scene outline, I had a section. It was organized like this: who's in the scene, what happens, and then some dialogue. Then I thought, hang on a minute. If I'm working on the structure of the scene, and then I'm going to write in a bit of dialogue down here, don't want to keep scrolling up and down. What I want is, say, on the left of the screen, what is on the left of the screen, I want, say, structure of the scene, and then some exploratory dialogue for those bits down the right-hand side. Now, because there's some scenes, so for example, I tend to have a lot of soliloquies, general introversion, a bit of FI in there, and this is a sci-fi episode, sci-fi heavy, and it's like if lots of bits are being covered, points, so any going like over the place, we'll get that in the correct sequence, and then the dialogue through speech, not a duologue. Dialogue means through speech. Check Robert McKee. And get that in the correct order. Then I don't want to keep scrolling up and down. So it would be structure of the scene on the left, which would be in a subsection of here. Yeah, scene sequences structure in step 4 on the left. So you'd have the difference. So I have a character called Dot thinking about different bits and like how to arrange that. And then in the other outline, it would be, okay, this bit and a bit of dialogue for that bit. Right, and then that gets the structure of the scene right for a soliloquy, the thought process. How to go from this topic to that topic to that topic. And in what order and how to structure the scene, which usually ends up being the most dramatic bit at the end. A bit of humor in the middle and then like something to hook the audience at the start of it. But the structure will vary. But again, going from something like this, so just to, again, add in that fifth step. So the DBC set. So it's like scene by scene, dialogue bits, and any captions. And I'll go on and explain more that you can be linear and very planful, but how to accommodate the ideas that come up. So I'll be writing this section, step 1. So again, these are, and then this will, it's probably better to look at this graphic though, because this shows the sections within, and these step 3, these first 3 steps are the same. So the story, and then I did some stuff on paper notes before when it says A4 and A5. So there I have to differentiate, make sure the A4 and the A5 for those episodes are in quotation marks, because I was fed up of saying 105, because I can't say 105. I've got to say 05, because I'm pedantic with myself. It's 0. No, I can't. It's like, so you have an idea for a story, the notes, episode and or character, story structure of the story. But it's the story structure. Actually, the story structure is in like story order, and then you got the per plot beats, because you might have 3 plots, and at this point keep those plots separate. I've got 8 main characters. Keep those plots separate. Then step 2 is that, but if I get an idea for some bit of dialogue, like if I've got a funny line, I'm not going to say, oh, forget that, it's not at the right stage, that's got to go in the bin. That's not the right stage. No, not the right time. So that's got to go in. So it's like that sort of mirrors that structure, but it has those dialogue bits. We might think, why don't you just do step 2 and add the dialogue, and then you're in a really, really long file. So, and then step 3 is step 1, but in story order. So that would be all of the plots interwoven and broken down into scenes, because you might have the beats, the story beats, but you not yet know where those story beats occur, like how separated out they are in the scenes and how they interweave with other ones. And so then in step 3, you've got the story order beats in the scenes and locations. Now this is always, well, I've got Backseat Driver TE, in that we have a 0 budget where basically it's favors and basically paying for pop and sandwiches. 0 and coining, like so, and knowing the son, one of the cast members now has fashion student friends, and sort of like wicked small budget. So I've got the TE Backseat Driver, and so most of these scenes are internals in a house, right? So that is always in mind, and some at location work every now and then, like in a park or somewhere. And in this particular episode, there's a lot of work with cars and shooting inside cars, which technically is an interior location. So, and then you can see that's then structured into the scenes. So, step 4, what step 4 was. And then step 4 was like step 2, but in the story order, instead of all that stuff, but in order per plot. Right. So in episode A2, I have a plot with Laura and Tell, and I have another plot with Kurt and Anna. And at that stage, it's like, well, I don't precisely know how those scenes are composed. So it's like, well, I know what that plot is, I know what that plot is, I know how it comes together a bit. So at that phase, I don't yet know, because it's working on like the story beats. And so you can see at a later step, it would then be like getting the scenes nailed down and the composition, like the order, like just the general composition stuff, which is the ordering and the tonal, like when you want to split here, when you go like that, you know, like that, the interweaving of the plots. So I'm trying to organize this, Annie. So step 4 was the scene by scene outline, and it had this, as you can see, what happened in dialogue, biz, and in the captions. But in certain scenes, like, watch the structure, because if you come up with ideas and it's got all these ideas, well, a bit here and a bit there and a bit there, but yes, but what's the right order? oh, I've got to write the order, and then I've got to write the dialogue for that, but then I keep just scrolling up and down. So, what do we do? What do I do? Take that bit out, because I want that in a different screen, and I want, right, and then you got to a point where you know what the overall structure is. I'm not Russell T Davies making it up as I go along and being very TI allergic, and thus having plots which insult me, so I won't watch. And it's not funny enough. So if you then have, so you got the overall structure for the episode, yeah, and you got stuff with art plots going on and all that. That's all in the back of the mind, right? You know what's setting up what and foreshadowing and all of that. That's all up top. Yes, there's like notes on that like elsewhere, but it's like after a few years, you know it. So structure the story. Then you got the scene. What is the scene? What happens in the scene? What does the scene? The purpose of the scene, and what is it does within the whole episode? Then structure of the scene, because you might have ideas for certain jokes and certain that are relevant, and there's not to get indulgent. And then it's like structure it, and then you might have a bit, well, for this bit, okay, right, that bit of dialogue, and then that bit of dialogue, and then sometimes it might be, oh, I'll join it together, or I might just do a clock top wipe over to a moment later. It depends on the scene, because it might be the kind of scene where it's a discussion and they're going sort of all over the place. Because I have a section, in A4, the A plot is dramatic. The B plot is Wilmot, Laura, and Rena discussing stand-up, and then later on it gets dramatic. But there it's, well, and discuss this and discuss that, and what is the sequencer? So structure on one side of the screen, and then the dialogue down the other. Now, this is not a case of squeezing stuff in. Again, already know what the scene's purpose is. So that's the planful part, but then you get the idea part of, oh, that'll be a funny bit, that bit. Depends on the scene, because if it's a properly dramatic scene, then you're not doing that. Again, it depends. But it's accommodating ideas and all of the P preference stuff, what comes up in the moment. And it's like, oh, I have an idea. Oh, I could say this. And this bit and that. And then structuring it on that. And then sometimes structuring it on the left. Then it's, oh, move that down. Decided against. That doesn't fit the scene. So there's a balance between linearity and then the ideas that come up in the moment, and organizing those ideas. And once it's copyrighted and published, then I can go through an example of all these bits coming together and what looks like conversational digressions and that lot. It depends. Comedy drama. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you can have a scene where it's like dramatic scene, and you've got the structure at the beginning, middle, and end, turning points, all that Robert McKee stuff, and the dialogue will be straightforward, and it's about sort of emotional truth. Then you got a scene which might be a bit plotty, and some funny bits, and you got those kind of like, oh, I want to talk about this, and then digress, and then move here, and then it sort of moves along. So if you watch a scene in Big Bang Theory, where you'll notice how the lines, it's either a one-liner or it'll be a line that moves the plot along, such as it is. Because it's mainly a premise rather than a plot. Instead of an interesting situation, and then it just, this episode just ends, rather than like being tied together in a neat bow. Yeah. So going back to bits and pieces, because it's like organizing the ideas. So this is just how I organize the ideas. So again, if you have an idea for some dialogue, because I mean, in the ultimate Robert McKee system, you don't think of any dialogue, and you just work out the story first, and then you write the dialogue last. Yeah, but what if you come up with ideas for dialogue? And again, this is not dialogue as in crowbarring it in. No, it's not crowbarring in. You crowbar something out, squeezing it in. That's where self-discipline comes in. And then it might be, I can't use that, but I'll use that later and put that to one side. Right. So and this is a case of, and again, especially in scenes in science fiction, if we've got a soliloquy, and I've got a particular soliloquy at the moment with Dot, where it's, okay, there's stuff to do with the plot, there's stuff to do where she's thinking about the past, and, okay, what is the structure of that? How our thoughts go between those sort of 4 or 5 elements. What is the best structure for that? And what and how would it flow? And so it would be, in an outline, it would be, this, we've got that down the side. Okay, I'll script that bit in a word outline. Okay, and that flows into that, and it's like bits that are foreshadowing other bits and shadowing and setting up something else that would be sort of noted in another file. And that's where it would be planned, because a lot of subtext, a lot of hindsight subtext. And so, yeah, and then when you get to that, okay, what's the right from the center of the character in that bit, what the character would think in that. And in certain things, when the character refers, they're not going to do the whole thing, because the character knows like the tip of the iceberg kind of word for something. Yeah, so certain scenes need a lot of exposition and a lot of structuring. So there's this half of me which is like doing all this structuring part, so like strategic construction in Kersey with NTPs, and then you got the part where it's, I want to fit this in, I want to fit that in. But again, it's not doing jokes that are irrelevant to the scene. They're usually relevant, but this is balance. This is not just characters sitting around talking. There's a sort of a relevance there, and if a character does digress, the other characters will call him or her on it. Right. So that it's a balance between the J and the P. Yeah, I mean, because the idea for the dialogue is coming from the character. And again, I write like this. When it's scripting dialogue, it's the character in the situation, and then what comes up is relevant to the situation. And it might be a bit of a digressive character, but again, you'll see how it comes out. And so this is part of my, and then so, again, here we're sort of in the middle of structuring A5, where, I mean, I've written most of the scenes. And like I said, so what I need to do this is copy that onto that, rename that, and then delete all of the bits from this that are not dialogue, biz, or captions. Oh yeah, I use captions a lot. Sort of witty captions. Hopefully witty captions. Well, I think they're witty. But, and then, but not to overdo it, because it's something that could be overdone. So again, self-discipline. So, yeah, and then removing the dialogue bits from that. So again, I can have left of screen the scene by scene outline. And then within that scene by scene outline, and again, because you can expand and construct with the outline feature in Word, and it's like, okay, what is in that, and then what will occur down the other side of the screen. Now, what I might do is I might do a screenshot for you to see if I can show you something. I'd have to set it up first. Right, where are we? What could I show you? Actually, yeah, I could open up the some of the files from the template, because that wouldn't have any spoilers in. So if I open those two files, and I open that one, and then I'll put those side by side. That's 5. Where's 4? Okay, that's 5. I need 4. Okay, I'll put that to the left. Windows left. Windows right. That's Windows left. That should be Windows left. I'm messing up. That should be Windows right. Right, so I'll give you an example of this. And I'm going to do a screenshot, and okay, screenshot, save the screenshot in there. Anything on here that can get me in trouble. There shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm using an old version of Microsoft Office. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'll just one moment. There is a factor I can't really mention. Right. Okay. I'll just do it like that. There we go. Right. That should be all right. Right then. So if I go here, right. Oh, sugar it. I need to have gone up a bit on the left and the right. So I'm going to do this again. Right. In fact, just show it for the first scene. Right. Okay. And then I'll take the screenshot again. Right. Oh, it's gone wrong. Oh. Oh no. Mouse problems. Okay. What do I do? Full screen. Current screen. Take new snapshot. Save as. Right. Sorry for the delay, folks. Right. Open. Use whatever magic I need to. Okay. Cropped. Saved. Ben, you could just share your screen. Oh yeah, I could. But I choose not to. Right. So, again, you see it's easier. So you got this scene here. So, you can see what you can see. Oh, I got a bad Kensington mouse, because usually it's a great mouse, and problems. So I'm going to have to use this other keyboard and try and get fancy with gestures. You see, when you do a lot of YouTube videos, you don't panic under pressure. You just go with the flow. Right. Seeing, again, there you can see the structure. So you have a bit there, and then you can like break it down like this. It's a lot easier than doing it sort of in film format. You sort of do that last. So And then you got here, and so it's like, okay, that's the bit, and that's the bit. Okay, well then okay, then do the dialogue for that bit, and you can sort of move the bits around. Now, if you're not disciplined, this can look like tangent here, going there. Here's a bit here, joined to this, and just all sort of disjointed dialogue. It would be all disjointed. It would be like a Pet Shop Boys song. But the key is then getting it to flow. That's where self-discipline comes in. So it's the J side, the organizing side, the structuring side, and then there's the organizing the ideas. And like I said, in a dramatic scene, it would be a lot more straightforward. But if you've got a comedic scene with some exposition in there, and again here, all the steps and the coding, and let's have a look at some of those steps. So, again, organizing it all. And in here, oh yeah, some of my terminology is coming through. Inner dialogue in text. Why do I have inner dialogue in text? Because it would get in the way of the spoken dialogue. That's why. Because someone would thinking something when other characters are talking, you can have a sort of a wry comment up there. Right. And again, if you're doing it in 4:3, you got that black bar across the top of the screen. And you can put it in. Right. Let's get back to the other. No, it'd be the. So again, this outlining feature in Word, very useful. Yes, it's an old one. Right. Right. Now, FDS means first draft standard. For me. First draft standard for me. Because later on, I then put it all together. I'm going to do a per character verbal individuality polish where I've got this whole spreadsheet of word equivalents. So, for example, we don't have every character say since or because or fine. You're going to have equivalents there. And I've got 4 verbal individuality templates. And that's something where there might be something in my speech, because my speech is very deductive. I have to make sure that my character's not like that. And so that is something to check. So we go through each character or go through a particular word so it doesn't crop up, and it's like I can look through and use that. It's an ODS file. Right. Why did I bring that up? Oh, yes, because it says at FDS in the ODT file. And I have macros in the ODT file for Hollywood film formats. Right. So yeah, like I said, certain scenes, if you got a soliloquy, and I have a way to explain why people are soliloquizing, and you'll find out what it is. Right. Yeah, a lot of sci-fi in episode 5. A lot being set up. A lot. Same with episode 6. Dramcom. Yeah. And the as for composition, so in talking about A5, I have A5 over here, that shot. These are the scenes I have left to do. Okay, there's an example. I'll put this on screen. There's anything on there? Right. Structure and prep file. Yeah, that's sometimes I'll do a prep file. That's like a hangover from a previous system. You see here. So these are the scenes I've to do in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that. Right, then if I remove from scene, yes, I'm removing that layer, and I'm going to make this bigger. I think. Can I make that bigger? Well, I could make it bigger if my mouse was working properly. This is the benefit of EV Monks, that you can do these sort of on the fly techniques. And actually, if I uncropped the image, crop, don't crop it. How about go to the original size? Right. Is that uncropped? Oh, enter. I don't know what to do. Stop share screen. Studio mode. How do I stop that? Live preview. The edited. I need to get to the correct version. Anyway, that's good enough. So these are the scenes I've left to do in A5. So you say, hey, what car scenes though? Right, FDS. So first draft standard for me. Because usually first draft equals not very good. But again, it's first draft for me. Now certain bits might not be very good, but it's first draft standard for me. Right. To avoid represent. So the structuring parts. Now there I had the structure prep file, but I just thought, it's going to be a bit of a pain, and then I'm going to copy bits across. So then I've added that step 5. So all these on the fly adjustment, and then that's done, A5. But again, those are solo scenes. So 4 solo scenes, but they'd probably be quite short, those times he wants, because she doesn't have to think about as much. Whereas Dot and Wendy have to think about a lot, because that pays off in about 20 years. Future projects now, because this is tying together what I've been working on for about 20 years, maybe 24 years. I'm showing my age, but you get the point there. It's all the ideas and then all the structuring and bringing it together. So I'm going to show that. No, I am not, because it's got the title on there and I like that title. Right, so the scene I'm working on at the moment with where you have Dot soliloquizer. Oh, Dot soliloquizer. I won't say anymore. Where there's her thought process and it's setting stuff up in future. Are there any funny bits in there? Well, there don't have to be. There don't have to be. Now, the prior scene, there's a scene with Wilma, which should be a funny scene. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. That prior scene is with Tamsy before, and then the scene with Wilma is after that, and then there's Wendy doing her solo after that. Right. So that's an example, because I'm looking at that's the character appearances. Right, because it's just enough that you're not to see too much. So these purple ones are, bloody hell, something just popped up. These purple ones, actually, what I might do is, because it's not going to be sharp, I could crop it onto that bit. Let's get fancy. Am I going to make that bigger? Yeah, you're not going to get this sharp, but you're going to get as much as I feel you should get at this stage. Right then. Right, so I want you seeing the title. Ben, I could AI that. Oh, and this is the thing about how to copy between between copying material between an ODT file and docx file, so the flipping formatting works. I don't want to get that all out. I could just move the camera. And so you can see that. I'll just move the camera a bit. Like that file, which is about pasting bits and how to get the formatting flipping right when you're going between Word and LibreOffice. Right, so here, again, deliberately not sharp. So these are here. These are standard locations in the house here. And this is the temperament code of a bedroom. So, for example, Wilma's bedroom in violet, because she's an NT. Rena's bedroom, Guardian, blue, and then various color codes. And then these ones that go this way are scenes outside. So you can see here in this episode, A3, there's a lot of scenes inside the house. And these would be kitchen, lounge. Not a landing scene in that one. And then these are the ones outside house going across. And then yellow scenes are exterior locations. They're all locations. There's no studio. So, anything else on there? Okay, that's the first episode, A1. So there's an exterior location in yellow. And then here's a flashback bit. So that's going to be a bit of an exterior there as well. So here, these are the character appearances. If I was to go down a bit, this is the name of a character. That is Wilma. That is Tamsi. And then these characters are not in episode. That says 105, but remember I changed it to A5. Those characters not in it. So Jake, Kurt, Anna are not in it. And then there's Laura and Tel in it. And then you've got the guest cast here and the scenes which the guest cast are in. So this character appearances table. And then these are the scenes which have been scripted to FDS for me in pink there. Right, so. Right then, so that's me and my process. Let's uncrop. What does that do? Move up. Crop. Reset. Is reset? No, that's not right. That's all weird. Oh, it's gone all crazy. Whoa! Whoa! Right. Okay. I'll do this in StreamYard. Right. So that's why there's not been in many videos. So hopefully later in 2024, because to me it's still 2023. I'm going to give you the reasons why. Well, the leap year day should be at the end of the year. The first day of the year should be the first day of the cycle of seasons, spring. So if you say someone's in winter years, then it's the final season. So spring first, and many weather scientists do March. 1st of March is the start of spring, so let's do that as the start of March. That's two reasons why it should be the 1st of March. Second reason why it should be the 1st of March is that septuplets are 7, octopus has 8 arms, Ennea and non is 9, so November should be the 9th month, and decade 10, decathlon 10, decimated, killed 1 in 10. So December should be the 10th month. It all lines up, and I've had this system for 10 years. Right, so to me, it's still 2023. However, later in 2024, it should be coming around. And I aim to get all these scripts finished and properly copyrighted, actually registered and paid for. So some people out there there's a certain Enneagram person out there who doesn't understand copyright. All right, you can't just claim copyright. When you put C in a copyright, that means you've actually registered it and paid to register it. Right. Otherwise, you can't get any damages in court because the US government wants money for their fees. Now, I'm going to stop now. Yes, that's a lot of the, quite a bit of the process that I'm willing to share. And FDS for me. Right, because it's going to get changed and polished and bits changed later on. Right. Yeah, and I'm going to do a bit of VI polishing, verbal individuality, trying to come up with the right name for it. Eventually I hit on verbal individuality. Obvious in hindsight. Then when it's registered and that's that, then I'll probably work on the VI again, just looking for little verbal tics to make sure there's certain things I don't say that, or little bits. So, for example, one of the things is Wilma says just a lot. So you gotta go check the change. But then you don't want to get too stereotyped in it. It's not like only Wilma says just and because, and everybody else has to say something different. Then it will sound too stereotypes. So it's balance and judgment calls, right? Right there. So that's the balance in me between the structuring, between the TI, I'm supposed to TI itself, strategic construction, and the any, that balance between art and craft. Right. What we could say is any lateral intuition, NI linear intuition. So the battle between linearity and laterality. Laterality. Hope that's acceptable as a word. All right. Tangenting, Ben. Okay, tangenting. Right. So I'm going to get back to writing and get more on the flipping process. Actually, instead of doing all this admin stuff and systematizing and doing stuff like this, I should actually write in and finish off that scene with Dot. Once I have that structure there and the structure of her thoughts, then I can write those. And again, it's a dramatic scene. It doesn't need to be funny. It might have funny bits in, but it's not forcing it because the prior scene is funny enough. And the second one, the one after that, dramedy. Right. I don't want to be a one-trick pony. Because I think sometimes I'm just not going to think of anything funny. I'll just lose it.